What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the C2C podcast. I just finished having a consultation with a coach who has tons of ideas on launching their brand, but he really had no idea where to start. And I'm excited to say that I'll be starting with him next week. But this gave me the inspiration to create an episode to share where I would start if my brand was starting up from scratch, because there are a lot of different opportunities that we can capitalize on coaching outside of just trading your one-on-one time. You can create PDFs, you can have self-led programs, you can create one-off memberships in which people go through maybe for a 6 to 8 week period. There's a lot of opportunities, but starting a brand has a lot of moving parts. And I feel like when most coaches come in, they get a lot of ideas starting on just the program. Here's all the things that I could do. Here's the program that I want to create. And they start focusing on a lot of the busy work, which is creating program modules, creating course codes, and just writing up a lot of content for their clients. And that's good when you have clients inside of the programs that are paying you. But it's bad when you're starting up a brand, because you actually need to first generate things that will get you clients first. So if I were to go and start a brand completely from scratch, I would look at first like how I can really build my social media presence. When it comes to building a coaching company or a social brand, there's really only two ways that you can get clients. You do it organically, which means that you're going to have to build a following, or you're going to have to build an audience with social media, or you do it the paid route, which is you invest $1,500 to $3,500 a month in ads. You continue to tweak your ads down to get cold leads. So that's buying traffic fast versus doing traffic organically. I would recommend, especially if it's a new brand and you haven't made it to 30K yet, do organic branding first. And that's because there's a lot of trial and error with ads that you're going to have to pay for. And if you don't have the capital to do that, that's going to be tough on your business. So I would start with organic first, and I would focus on Instagram and TikTok. Trending currently for 2025, TikTok has the greatest level of users and visibility, and people are actually open to like learning from coaches, learning from just content, period. They're engaging with a lot of the content creators, and that's good because TikTok means that it will push basically your audience and stuff to more people. It's going to push all of your content further and further to people who haven't seen you before. Instagram is where I would effectively use it almost like my calling card, my business card, or my website. I would argue you don't even need a website anymore to show every single day, like, here's the value of the content, here's the stories of my clients going through, here's the testimonials, here's my experience if it's so new you don't have testimonials. And I would build the organic brand from there. The reason why I would build it from there, unlike what I did first, when I built my first company, I actually did it off of referral base only. Referrals builds a quick kind of high quality group of clients, but it takes time to build relationships, which means that you really have to spend a lot of time like trying to find clients in between so these relationships can be built up. Once you have the relationships, though, you get a lot of quick referrals, and that's great. But starting up a new brand means establishing a social media presence. It means building a brand that's so powerful that you start to build a community and a tribe. A community and a tribe is going to be the people that will buy from you over and over again, or these are going to be people who will share your content, who will like it, who will engage, and ultimately they're going to attract other like-minded customers to you. We build organic first because anything that works inside of our organic platform is an indicator to us that like our audience actually wants to see this. They want to see the content. They want to see the trainings. And then we can use that to go and pump ads later because we know it's already worked. I always focus on building lead flow first when it comes to building a brand. Forget about the offer, forget about the delivery, focus on getting higher quality leads and increased amount of leads first. Because that's going to be the pool of people that you have to buy your program and to see your offer. It's hard to know if your offer is working if you only have 3 or 4 leads, because that's not enough of a pool to see if your offer is any good. And then even if you do have leads coming in and maybe you have some people buying your offer and some people not, if you have a very small pool of leads, it will also limit like What changes can I make inside of my offer to make sure that it actually makes sense for my clients? So we always maximize the lead pool first. I do it organically so I can always create value and build content every day that people get fired up about. My organic is going to be my website and my calling card. Once I start building those leads, that's when I then look to sales. Building up value is the purpose of leading to a sale or to have someone then sign up for your coaching program. When they're looking at your offers, you want to have a lot of opportunities to make a sale happen. This is not about just having one flagship offer and then you're like, I don't have anything else available to you. Because the problem with that is if a client comes and they don't perfectly fit that offer, they might say to themselves, oh, well, you know what? It's not for me. And then you've completely lost the sale. Just like at a grocery store, if you go to a grocery store, you see that on the shelf there's hundreds of items. That increases the chance of buying because they will see other items and maybe they said no to the first one, but they'll say yes to the second one. So the way that we lead and we create a new level of sales, especially for a new brand, is not about leading with your flagship offer, but it's actually about leading with different trainings that talk about one specific offer. So as an example, inside of Coach to Coach helps with a lot of things. It helps with helping coaches sell. It helps with helping coaches create client converting content. It helps coaches nurture effectively. It helps them build systems. And each one of those things is going to have multiple challenges, which means it's going to have multiple trainings that people may or may not be interested in. I could do a training on how to sell. I could do a training on how to create your first funnel. I could do a training on how to attract high quality clients. And each one of those things is almost like a different product that someone is going to be initially interested in. So when someone starts to look at your feed and they say, oh, hey, Coach Andrew has another training coming up and this time it's about sales, maybe they weren't interested in the content one, but they will be interested in the sales one. This is where we can get our leads to take action on something that's going to lead up to our program. Very few and far between now, especially for high quality clients or high ticket clients. Like if your program's above $4,000 a month or a month, $4,000 like in total. If your program is above $4,000 a month, like kudos to you. Let's chat. I love it. But if you're at like the 4,000 plus range for your program, then your funnel is not going to be from like straight to lead to DM and sell. People have to build a level of trust first, and they have to try a few things to get to a point where they know you, that they trust you, and then they feel you're credible enough to move forward. So this is where having a masterclass, having a live training, having those other smaller offers that they're going to be interested in is really valuable to the people watching your content over and over again. So that way, when something interesting does pop up for them, they're like, hey, I'm going to jump at that. This is where on the masterclass or the training, you can deliver a lot of value to then put your main flagship program or your offer out there. And that's the best way to do and create sales. And I would do trainings, especially if my brand is brand new. I would do a training every 2 weeks. And I know you're like, well, can I fill the training in 2 weeks? Yes, you can if the training is specific and you're very vocal about the training. Coaches who don't get their trainings filled or their webinars filled is because they're not talking about it every day. When I run a program, just like when I run a free training or a webinar or a masterclass, I'm talking about it every single day to get people to sign up. And you don't need a lot of signups at the beginning. 10 to 12 of the right people can convert into 3 or 4 people into a high ticket program. So you don't need to have 100 people on a webinar at the start to be able to get a consistent amount of leads and clients from it. So I would be doing a training every 2 weeks about a specific piece inside of your program. And in doing that, I'm teaching people not only what I can coach and how I can help them, but I'm showing them different areas that maybe they never considered was broken or was challenging inside of their journey. Now, for you guys with coaching, it's whatever your client's going to be into. But for me, with the coaches I work with, typically it's sales, it's lead generation, it's nurture. There's a bunch of stuff. So I would continue to alternate the trainings, and each and every time I'm pushing to the same offer because I want to fill an offer. Now, it's easier for people to fill one-on-one spots than it is for people to fill group. So whenever I start a new brand, I always fill my one-on-one coaching first, because that way I can see what people are looking for. I can build out pieces of information and pieces of content and also delivery around what those specific people need. Then it's like I'm building my program as I'm coaching my clients. It saves me time. From there, as I start to see common themes and I start to have all of these pieces, that's when I can then open up a group program, offer the one-on-one clients the ability to hop into that container for free, and then you already have a group coaching program that's filled, so you can start inviting other people to it. I don't recommend starting a group program first and then trying to fill it, because if there's only one or two people on the call, you're not going to feel activated, you're going to feel frustrated, and then these people are going to be confused because they're looking to get into a community. I would start my brand this way, and then once I got to about the 15K to 20K a month, this is where I would look at offloading, not offsetting, offloading one of two things. I would either offload the sales, so you bring on a sales rep to help you sell, or I would offload the delivery, bringing on an assistant coach or an admin to help you take less time to deliver to your clients. The entire goal of building a coaching business is for it not to be you 100% of the time. So just like I have admins that help me because I love doing the delivery and creating content, you have to eventually build out your team to get to a place where it is working without you. So as an example, one of the first goals I set in my business, and now in building this brand, I've done the same thing, is like set a revenue number. So say to yourself, maybe I want to hit 50K a month every single month. Perfect. Once you do that 2 months in a row, then your goal should be, I want to hit 50K a month, but I want to keep that 50K a month and now have a virtual admin. Perfect. Now for the next 2 months, as your admin starts establishing, then you say, I want to continue to keep 50K a month, but now I only want to work 20 hours a week, which means offloading sales. And get to the point where you only have on your plate the stuff that brings you joy or the stuff that really matters to your business. You see, a lot of coaches, when they're building a brand, they're building a brand thinking that they have to be the one to do everything. And then when their business gets to 30K, 40K, and 50K a month, they start really resenting what they're doing every day. They don't like the fact that they're spending 5 hours on content. They don't like the fact that they have a back-to-back console calls followed by client delivery. And they're like, well, now I have to change up my whole system to do this from scratch again so I can finally take back my time. This is where we get to do it different. If I were to build my brand again, I would say the end goal in mind, and I would put that first. I would say to myself, okay, what is my revenue goal that I want to make with this company? What do I want to be able to offload to get into a place where I'm just focusing on stuff that fires me up every single day? And then I would look to build that revenue first and then start offloading team by team. One of the last two things I would offload is sales and then leads. And that's because you as the business owner, you as the coach who's speaking to people every day, you're probably going to be the best at sales in your business, as well as you're going to be the main source of lead gen, especially if this business is built around you. So just like with my hormone coaching company, when we had worked up our way to 4,400 clients, like I was the original practitioner. I was the person doing everything. So I built a business around me. But then I changed my messaging from, hey, it's Andrew Costa, to I changed it to it's Fit for All Fitness. So that way I could start to bring on other team members and have those people work with them as a part of the process. Now, if you're like, well, I want to be the coach all the time, I want to continue to stay in my brand, that's totally fine, but then offload the other stuff that you don't want to do. So at this point in building the brand, I have my organic going. I would work to be able to build consistent revenue probably to 30K. I would offload the things that I don't want to do, and then I would go and I would implement ads. Implementing ads is because I already know what's working through my content. I already know what my clients want because they're telling me all the delivery, and I built a group coaching program around it. And now the ads is just going to continue to supplement new and fresh leads for me to either nurture with my content or nurture with my nurture system, or sell them directly. This way, there's always people joining and signing up in your program. Once you have that steady amount, this is where I focus on the last thing, which is maximizing my client retention. going to a place where I get a client to join one program to how can I have this person work with me for maybe 8 months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years? What are the other programs that I can build for them? What are the other steps in the process that I can provide to them to maximize their journey and to also increase the length of time that they're spending with me? That's how I would build out my brand, is you build it around basically the key pieces of that natural lead flow, a steady amount of sales, and offloading a team. Now, you don't have to have a giant team to do this. I know most of the coaches that are working with us inside of Coach to Coach have between 3 and 5 people on their team, but they're still doing anywhere from 35K to my one coach did 3.2 million last year. They don't need a giant team. Well, he has a big team. He has 16. But for each and every kind of position, I would look to build a brand that is right for you, one that is in alignment with how you want to operate every single day. And that's why I wanted to share this episode, because we can come up with a lot of ideas of a lot of programs. Oh, I could create ebooks. I could build out all of these things that like I could possibly sell. But then we get trapped in creating new content. We get trapped in creating new courses and new modules without ever knowing if it's what our clients need or having anyone who's bought the program. And I know it feels weird to say like, but Andrew, you want me to almost sell the program before I create it? Like, yes, if you've never built out a program before, the best way for you to build a program that's actually going to be beneficial to your clients is to sign them up, have them pay you so you're fired up about creating the program. And then you can ask them, what is it that you need? How can I maximize this journey for you? So then you can make sure that every training or every course you put into your program is going to be something that works as a part of the process. I worked with 6 clients one-on-one before I even created the Coach to Coach program. I didn't even promote it because I knew that if I was just going to promote something that was going to be effective for me, that I wanted, that it would not necessarily help where my clients were in the midst of their journey. And this is why you really have to take a look at like, okay, with all of these ideas, how can I maximize this? That's how I would build a brand now going into 2025, starting with the leads, doing the sales, maximizing the team, and then start to look at what are the other places in which I can fulfill to my clients. When you do it that way, you build a business that you don't have to take apart again. And then it's just easier for you to continue to like focus on the things you love, focus on the things that you're great at, and then spend the time doing the things that move your business forward instead of doing all of the general back end and admin work. So just wanted to share this with you guys for this episode. That is all for this episode. Thanks guys for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel as well so you can get updates for more videos like this. Take care, and we'll see you on the next episode.